You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Of the net.
You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there. All right at the back, how are we all doing? How the devil are you all? Good evening. It's Monday night, it's 7 o'clock, it's Leicester Till I Die. It's a brand new show. It is the three amigos. I know I'm two missing. Well, that was the joy of my ex-wife. She took them with her. But do you know, she'll kill me. It is a new show. We have got two guests to come in a second from two fellow great Leicester channels that we're all going to collaborate and do this once a month. And we're going to be looking back. And this month we're looking back on October. Leicester Till I Die TV, Beyond the 90 and Ants Fan TV channel. All of us together trying to pick out some good, bad and maybe some ugly moments as well. This is where you can watch and listen to us live tonight.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Indeed. So, like I say, there's got to be three of us. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called the Three Amigos. And here they come. Static, good evening to you. I don't think I can take anything more from Arsenal fans. Honestly, if I have any more humble pie, I will literally be sick. I've had really bad diarrhea. I've said that of course, is hereditary because it runs in your genes. Yeah, the jokes don't get any better, do they? But good evening, Static. You are welcome. So let's bring the second of the third amigos in. D'Artagnan. Ant, how the devil are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Obviously, as you said before, we're not going to mention a certain game.
No.
A certain team. But apart from that, I think the only person who's probably eaten more humble pie this week than you is myself. So it is what it is. We move.
We've supported Leicester long enough. We should know that these things happen, shouldn't we?
The thing is, the way it's been celebrated, it's making me laugh because before the game it was, it's only Leicester. Now they've won the game. They're gonna win the league and go on to win the Champions League and stuff.
We do know, and good evening to Yeti Boy. Welcome along. We do know, of course, that the A team are very good at premature celebrations, aren't they? We can remember the celebration after the win in our championship winning team. Something Arsenal haven't done for a long time. Anyway, it does say... before we go on, just tell everybody quickly where they can find you, Ant.
So check me out on Beyond the 90 as well as Ant's Leicester fan channel on YouTube. Really getting back into the grind of doing almost daily content again on my own channel now, so make sure to check that one out.
We'll do. Well, let's bring the third one in. Portos, he could be. Akash, how are you? So, how the devil are you?
I am great. I'm doing relatively well this month. I think after the month of September, I think we have come out of stuttering, and there is more positive than negative this time around. So I am very energized how we will perform in November.
I think so. I mean, I think this was a good month to start. Actually, apart from the game that won't be mentioned, we didn't have a bad month at all. But you're welcome along, and tell people where they can find you.
So everyone can find me where I write. I write exclusively for Foxes of Leicester. And also I write for sportskira.com, where I cover all the other clubs and all the footballing news that is going on around the world. Also, you can find me occasionally joining with Ant, Neil and others at Beyond the 90.
Plenty of places to find you then. And this is what he says, desperately looking, thinking he hasn't uploaded it. But we're going to look at three things this evening. Our highlights, our downers, and our player of the month. So agree or disagree in the chat. Please do let us know your thoughts. It's all about you, so join in. And let us know what you think. Right, so let's start. We're going to start with the October highlight. So I'll start this off, and then you guys can sort of tell me I'm talking rubbish, which I usually do. But for me, the highlight of the month was the Spartak game over in Russia. And it's the highlight because obviously a lot happened in that game, but at 44 minutes, I honestly thought this is Europe over for us. You know, this is Leicester's very own Brexit happening here. You know, it was going to be the end, because I think had we lost that game, I think we could have been, maybe would have possibly got into the conference. But to me, at that point, you know, it didn't look good for us. Obviously, then Daka decides to have his say and gets 4 goals over the 2 halves, and we're back in it. And then, of course, being Leicester, we couldn't do anything easy, and we ended up sort of letting one in just to make it a little bit difficult. We like to make things interesting as Leicester City, don't we? But for me, the way that we turned that game around, I thought was the start. Well, probably following on from the Man United game, but I thought that was, you know, we had the Man United game, we then had that Moscow game, and I thought, here we go, this is our season kicking in now. Like I say, until the game that won't be mentioned. But to me, like I said, I was really happy that, I say, the fact that I'd gone from so depressed to so happy in the game. What did you think of that game, Ant?
It was, to start with, it was a ridiculous kickoff time, wasn't it, for a European game? So I was sort of half watching it at work. But if my boss was watching, I was fully focused on my work. Don't you worry.
Of course.
But I was watching it sort of whilst half typing stuff on my laptop, and it's like the first goal goes in, and you just think, "Oh God, here we go again." And then the second one goes in, and I'd resigned to the fact I'm probably not going to get anything out of this game, or a draw will be the maximum. Then, as you say, Daka goes on an absolute incredible run in that game, scoring 4 goals, and it's like typical Leicester, isn't it? As you say, we don't do it the easy way, but for me, the highlight of the month has got to be beating United.
Yes, we'll come on to that onto yours in a second. Akash, did you like the Moscow game?
So as Ant mentioned, about the time of this specific European game, I mean, it was fantastic for us living on the other side of the world. It was relatively early. We didn't have to burn our midnight oil to watch another game which goes till 4 in the morning. So it was very refreshing and a new experience for me. And
so you like the time? You like those kickoff times?
I do. I won't complain, but this was a refreshing way to have a game early kickoff time, and Dhaka made it all the way more perfect for us. I think we couldn't have asked for a better scoreline, and a single player registering 5 cool goals to his name. That was simply magical and beautiful to witness such an early part of the evening. So I had plenty of going through in the night. So yeah, I was very happy, and I would say Manchester United was the highlight for me as well, because that game particularly draws a lot of eyeballs to our club. So I just loved the fantastic fixture.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, I think the time was the fact that there's 3 teams in Moscow and they can't play on the same night for for television as much as for the police. And there was a Champions League game on, or there was another game on with one of the other clubs. So they moved it to the Wednesday for us, but then Europa League matches aren't allowed to clash with Champions League matches. So that was why they had to shift it to 3 o'clock, because obviously Europa's not as important as Champions League. And do you remember when football used to be about the fans? maybe I'm just sort of remembering these nice things and you know, I'm dreaming, but I did used to think that it was the fans that mattered, but hey, there we go, you know.
Probably before my time, because that was probably when the Premier League was formed. That was about the end of the care of fans, but I'm not going to get into a rant about that.
No, but I know where you're coming from. So, and your where are we here? Your highlight.
It's got to be the United game. Just everything about it. The way that Harry Maguire's first game in front of a packed King Power was probably the worst centre-back performance I've seen for a long time. The fact of, as well, like, I thought we'd blown it because we dominated that game, and I thought, oh god, 2-2, and it was all set up for Ronaldo to score a late goal for United and it be another late United comeback. But that Vardy goal just from kick-off was brilliant, and I do think the fact I was there added something to it. It's like that Moscow game was brilliant, but when you're half watching it sort of under your arm at work, it's not the same as actually being there. So,
could you not pull a sickie?
I still don't think I would have managed to get out to Moscow. Fair play to those 25 who did, by the way. I know it's not.
Oh, indeed, yes. Indeed. Now, I was thinking just to get home and watch it on the telly. That was all.
Oh, fair enough. But that 25 that got there, absolutely incredible. But
yeah, totally fair play to them, like you say. I mean, that it was a brilliant game. Was that your highlight as well, Akash, or have you got a different one?
I was just ecstatic that a player like Ronaldo is coming back to the King Power Stadium. We get the privilege of hosting him and also denying him all those 3 crucial points. That was a brilliant moment for me because personally, you know, as much as I love Ronaldo as a player, I still want him to underperform in the games where we are directly pitted against them. And the score line, all the more thing to be proud of because, you know, Jimmy Vardy and Patson Daka killed off the game. I was narrowing for even a 3-2 score line, but then they killed off the game with a 4-2 brilliant finish from Patson Daka. He got his first goal and the next game he just doubled it twice. So it was just so much fun watching that game because, you know, here we cousins assembled because all of them are Manchester United fan and I'm the only animal in the lot. And you can call me the black sheep of the litter because I am the only Leicester fan screaming out and hoping that we can salvage at least a draw out of this fixture. So when a win happens and in such a dramatic fashion, I just go out berserk.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, to be honest with you, I'd forgotten that we'd actually taken part in the game because the press and the TV hardly mentioned us at all, did they? And I mean, it was how bad were Man United? No way was it how good were Leicester City, despite the fact that we probably the way we played made Man United bad. And am I the only one that gets annoyed with that?
I did about 2 years ago. Now I'm beyond caring. Sky Sports is set up just to interact with the fans of the 6 clubs, and everyone else is there just to make up the numbers. So it is what it is now. I don't care what they say because it's fully expected. We could beat United 10-0, and it wouldn't be Leicester or brilliant. It's what went wrong at United. So I'll just focus on ourselves now.
You put on your armour suit and just ignore it now, and
Yeah, it used to really wind me up, but I'm just like, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, Akash, where you are, was it all Man United are bad, Man United are poor, or did Leicester get some credit?
Leicester never gets its share of credit because it's always due in our part. Last season we saw we were dealing with more injuries than Liverpool, but we didn't get the spotlight. The spotlight was always on Liverpool. Similarly, when we defeated Manchester City in that 5-2 scoreline, again, Pep Guardiola, it was all Pep Guardiola's overthinking. It was not Leicester's well done job for the night. Again, everything was scrutinized against us because Jamie Vardy apparently won a lot of penalties. The referee was harsh against Manchester City, to say the least. So it is always the same everywhere around the world. The bigger teams get the bigger portion of the pie because they always get draw more eyeballs into the product. So they will always get that favoritism.
Yeah. I mean, overall though, and it wasn't. So I say highlights. It was a good month to start because we had the Brentford win as well. We had the Millwall in the cup. It wasn't. Those two games stand out, obviously, but the month as a whole was probably the best month we've had since the season started.
We don't have much to compete with there, let's be honest.
I'm getting this feeling that you're more of a glass half empty kind of guy.
I am after the Saturday. I'm normally really positive, but Saturday, I just feel really deflated. No, it has been a good month in general. It was, obviously, the win against United is huge. We got back to winning ways and backed it up against Brentford. So it's just about trying to make sure that this game against Arsenal was a one-off and we can respond properly from it. But the month as a whole was a success. We're through to the quarterfinals of the Cup as well, which we haven't mentioned. So we beat Brighton. Yes, it went to penalties, but I'm one of those. I don't really care about performances in a cup game. It's just about getting through to that next round. So, yeah, it's been a good month.
We're through to the next round, Akash, and I don't know. Carl says you got a bit of an echo there, or he said a huge echo, but I don't know if you can look into that. But you say what Ant said there. We're through to the quarterfinals, but it's just a small matter of away at Liverpool. So maybe that's as far as we're going to go on our performances this season.
That was the toughest draw we could have come up with because, again, you don't want to face a Liverpool side into the eliminator straight away because they are going to be ruthless. Manchester City have been winning the cup for so long that it's Liverpool's prestige at stake right now. A team like that caliber should be winning this cup, and they're going to go full guns blazing, firing on all cylinders against us. I still hope, because I am very optimistic when it comes to Leicester, but still a very, very tough draw. I think we can salvage something out of this. Definitely we can go to the penalties all the way, and we are more than capable of winning on pens, but let's see what happens. I will be hoping that we somehow survive.
We've got one glass half full and we've got one glass half empty, so between the three of us we'll get there. And do you think that Liverpool's going to be as far as we go?
No, I reckon we go to Anfield and absolutely we should have them on toast, if I'm honest, if they play the teams that they typically play in the cup. So I'm fully confident that we can go through against Liverpool.
Do you think Liverpool will not put the strongest team out? I mean, Man City are not in it this year, so for once it's going to be a different name on the cup. Liverpool could think, well, this is a trophy we could go for.
They could do, but I think Jurgen Klopp, particularly around the time that it is the start of the AFCON, he's already going to be losing Salah, Mane,
yes,
and all of that. So I don't see any reason why we can't go there and get the win. Because when you look at the teams that they put out for it, if we play even the team that we played against Brighton, I'd say our second string is probably better than their second string.
Yeah,
it's just their first team is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, Andrew says here, not if we play like we did in the first half on Saturday. No, we need the first half. We need the second half on Saturday, and then the first half again. And I'm struggling, to be honest with you, to find a first half because we never start very quickly. Moving on then. I mean, those are sort of our highlights. 2 went for Man United. Obviously, I went for the Moscow. I think it was always going to be sort of one of those two. But looking now, we're going on to the October Downer, for want of a better word. Now, I'm sure one of you may well decide that the match that must be spoken about might have to be spoken about here, so fair enough on that. But to be honest with you, for me, I think, and let me just get rid of that because it's too long. There we go. For me, I've got to be honest with you, it's the lack of clean sheets. I mean, before a pizza sorted it out, I think it could take more than a pizza this season. We're not getting tanked by anybody, but we just can't keep a clean sheet. I mean, the last one was Wolves, and in fairness, which was the first game of the season, had Wolves had the shooting boots on, I think we'd have struggled to keep a clean sheet then. And I know we haven't got a settled back four, etc., etc., so there's a lot there, but surely this has got to be looked at and be seen, and we've got defensive coaches in there. You've got to ask, what the hell are they doing? And every time I do my predictions at the weekend, I've never gone for Leicester keeping a clean sheet. So if I've gone for a win for us, it's always been 2-1 or 3-2, because I know we're always going to concede a goal, and it's causing us problems, isn't it, Ant?
It is, and I think the rate that we're conceding at, we're not going to achieve anything major this season if we can keep conceding it. I think only Newcastle and Norwich have conceded more. So
yeah,
it's not good. And it's like you say, what are they doing in training for this to be like a week in, week out occurrence? Like, I'm hoping that something's looked at in January, but even so, we should be doing better in terms of the defensive side of it with the players that we've got on the pitch.
Indeed. And Akash, do you think sort of, we automatically think when Fofana comes back and James come back that's going to be it. We're going to suddenly be keeping a clean sheet every game. But when they're ready and when they come back, we know that they're not going to come back and be playing 90 minutes every game. They're going to be eased in. So it might even be February before we see a settled back four. And obviously Johnny Evans, we do know he's susceptible to an injury and he can't be playing every game. Do you think? Well, first of all, do you think that Fofana coming back is going to be the answer, or as Ant suggested, do we need to go and buy somebody an extra centre back in January?
I don't think Leicester are going to spend their purse in the winter, because Wesley Fofana is going to be making his recovery and come back eventually. Also, James Justin is a solid additional to the back line, and those two coming back simply will instill a lot of confidence to the back line, which they have been missing. Without Johnny Evans properly playing regularly gaining minutes under his belt, Sonchu was looking very lost, as if he was a sailor without a compass. And the cheap blaster that we brought in from Southampton in the form of 6'6", Yannick Vestergaard, wasn't doing his part. He was slow, he was sluggish, he was vulnerable. And all those things to erode away will take a sustainable amount of time. It will be February, till February, I would say, to get Fofana back on his regular fitness and his regular time. And then we can hope to build up from there. And the way things are going, we are conceding above 16 shots on target per 90 minutes. So that's a recurring issue. When you are dealing with so many of the shots, some of them are eventually going to land up in the back of the net. So we can't be oblivious to that. We have to be pragmatist, and we're going to assess that none of the fixtures will aid us with clean sheets. We need to have our offenses ready, and we need to outmatch them in the scoreline department, because we are going to concede either way.
Do you think, because you mentioned Vestergaard there, the fans haven't taken to him. He came to us, he got injured straight away, Akash. Are we being unfair? Has he had time to settle yet? Was he the right purchase?
I don't think he was the right person, because to replace a player like Wesley Fofana or Johnny Evans for a few months, he didn't cover any of the bases that those two players do weekly on an eloquent basis. He was a very different attributed player. His height gives him the ideal advantage, but also, cuts his speed by half, and that makes him a very, very weak link in the back line, considering a team like Leicester, whose defense is expected to, push into the midfield to channel and orchestrate from the back. But Vestergaard has been often caught off guard, and he has left pocket of spaces which he, after dispossessing the ball, isn't able to cover up. So that makes us vulnerable and he makes him the weakest link. So that's my only worry. I think he wasn't the right purchase, but we have to deal with that until Fofana or Evans is. For Evans won't be fit for a long time, but definitely Fofana can, help with that issue.
Yeah. Yeti, with my bowel problems, I don't have any clean sheets at the moment. And Andrew says here that I know my jokes are bad. I'm sorry. It's just my toilet humour. He says should have gone and got Tarkowski. Are we regretting that when we know that Brendan was a fan of Vestergaard because he'd been talking about him in previous windows? And obviously Tarkowski would have cost a lot more. But would we have been better off getting, and my mind has gone totally blank just at the wrong time, the guy that was available on a free, ex-Chelsea player?
Gary Cahill.
Yes, Gary Cahill. Would we have been better off getting him in? Or is Vestergaard going to prove us all wrong and come good given time?
Hopefully you will, but I don't think Gary Cahill is the answer, if I'm honest. When I saw him at Palace, he was completely finished at Premier League level. So
right.
I don't think Gary Cahill on the free was the answer. But at the same time, Tarkowski would have been, 25 million?
Yeah.
I think that extra 10 million we would have seen a much better player than we're getting with Vestergaard. But I'm not one of those who's going to write a player off after 2 or 3 months. I'm hoping he does find his feet, but he's so slow, and the way we play it, it really gets exposed by trying to press teams high, and obviously the defence pushing forward. It's like the other teams that do it are like the Liverpools. They've got Van Dijk and Joe Gomez at the back, both very quick players who've got that recovery pace. You look at Man City with Ruben Diaz, Laporte. I know we can't spend that kind of money on a centre back, but the basic fundamentals of them of being quick centre backs who can recover from situations on the counter attack. We don't have that with Vestergaard, and he gets turned so easily, and he's got the turning circle of a bus. So it's very easy for opposition attackers to get in behind us.
I think the problem may be the fact that we didn't have the 25 million for Tarkowski because we hadn't planned on going out and buying another defender, I don't think. And had Fofana not got that injury, I don't think we would have brought somebody in. Although I must admit, it is looking like we had a lucky escape with Kabak, but maybe that's being unfair to the guy when he's playing in that Norwich team anyway. Andrew says give Ward a chance. I don't think it's Schmeichel. I think for me, a goalkeeper can only be as good as the defence that is in front of him. And at the moment, you can't expect Schmeichel to save everything. The defence has got to do the job, and it's not settled at the moment. Steve Bruce is now a free agent. Tell you what, Andrew, if you're suggesting Steve Bruce comes in for Brendan Rodgers, I think we need to call the men in little white coats to come and take you away, because I think you are having a mare there. It's a wind up. Ant, what was your downer of the month?
I'm not going to go for the obvious one here, because mine was going 2-0 up against Crystal Palace and letting that lead slip.
Yes.
As good as Crystal Palace are, and as much as they look revitalised under Patrick Vieira, when you go 2-0 up, you should be seeing that out.
Definitely. And you knew that Schlupp was going to come back and score against us, didn't you?
Oh, of course. It's to be expected.
Yeah. And if all this season has proved that I know nothing about football, because all my predictions, apart from Brentford would do the best of the 3 teams that came up, have proved completely wrong, including the fact that Palace were going to be one of the favourites to be fighting relegation. Oh yeah, I got that one wrong as well, didn't I? But do you think, because we were lucky to be 2-0 up in that game, weren't we? Let's be honest.
We were, but it's almost irrelevant to the point of once you are 2-0 up, you defend like your lives depend on it, and particularly in like a hostile stadium like Selhurst Park, you don't you don't sort of put a half-assed defensive performance in, which is like, if I'm honest, is what it was, which is why it was so easy for Palace to open us up. Because as brilliant as Palace were, we allowed that result.
Yes, yes, we did. Akash, your thoughts on that game before we come on to your downer?
I think we will align with that game because that's my downer as well. Having a comfortable cushion in the first half, 2-0, and then it shows what our persistent problem has been, unable to defend well, and we play very differently in the first half and second half. So second half, I didn't expect the substitution to make such an impact that they would stalemate us and earn another points, and we'll be sharing a point with Crystal Palace. The Arsenal game does hurt. The first 20 minutes that we switched off was the turning point of the game, but you don't expect losing points against Crystal Palace, considering the finishes that we had in the last 2 seasons. But against Arsenal, it's a 50-50. They can do well. It can be Vardy's day. So you are never too sure on that. But losing Crystal Palace and drawing with Crystal Palace again, Jeffrey Schloops comes and just rubs it in. It's a very, very unfortunate feeling being a Leicester fan, and we should have salvaged something out of that. So that game. So that was very, very hurting for me that we couldn't keep it up. But after that, we developed, and October turned out to be comparatively greater. And we stringed our performances, and we went in a good winning run. Then again, we hit a slump, and now it's on to the next one.
Andrew says here that he actually meant Steve Bruce in defence, and I think that's only because he's one of the few guys that actually makes me look slim. So if you're talking about Steve Bruce in defence, I think you put him on the post and leave him there because he just fills the goal up, bless him. Yet it was the 3rd of October, that game. We need another international break, don't we? And there's one coming up.
No, we definitely don't. No, we definitely don't. I could not do with more international football.
But we win after an international break. We stuff United.
That's true, but just the bore fest that is watching England play. It almost doesn't seem worth it.
I totally agree, and that's another topic, because I hate the qualifiers, because I just think they're just so set up for the big teams, a bit like an ESL of the international front. But the worrying thing is when you see we're consistently inconsistent. I think that's the best way of describing it, Akash, isn't it? And, we go out and we beat Man United 4-2. There was very few Arsenal fans, and I know a few Arsenal fans on here, and there's very few Arsenal fans that actually gave themselves much of a chance against us. The frightening thing is, after the international break, we've got Chelsea. Scared? Worried?
Yeah, it's scary. It's definitely scary considering the last 2 times we faced against them. Once we got all the glory, we basked in the glory, and then the next time it turned into an ugly fight. We lost 3 points, which eventually denied us an entry into the Champions League. So 50-50 again. But Chelsea has been playing brilliant football. They are not scoring as many goals as they're supposed to with Lukaku and Timo Werner at their disposal. But it's going to be tough for us as well because our defense is struggling. Maybe that's their day. It could be our day again. But coming to the international break point, I think the last international break was a blessing in disguise for us because the coaching staff got a lot of time to analyze what was going wrong, and they came up eventually to try out the 4-4-2. Then they stuck with the 3-5-2, and Maddison showed a lot of improvements. They were holding these training sessions in Seagrave, where they used video analysis to break down Madison's plays, what is going wrong, the impact, the tenacity, what has been missing. And I think that has helped Madison immensely, because in Manchester United game, we saw the spark of an old Madison from a season ago before his ailments. And that was, a beautiful thing to culminate out of this international break. So I think if our side's dealing with so many injuries, can do well with some breaks. I mean, a lot of players are looking a bit out of touch. You can place Harvey Barnes into that area. Yannick Vestergaard needs a lot of figuring to do out, even playing as a substitution. I think we could really do well with some breaks.
It's good. And I mean, we just can't carry on with this starting. I mean, I sort of midway through the first half, I said, when we won the Premier League, all the players got a BMW off the chairman. Maybe they should all get an alarm clock now, because they hadn't woken up till about till the second half. If we carry on like that, we are just going to, when we come against, we're struggling against the smaller teams. The wins we've had, like apart from United, Brentford made us work hard for it. Norwich did. Chelsea really does scare me.
My thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if we beat Chelsea and then lost the game after that. Because isn't the game after that someone like Southampton?
We've got Leeds this weekend, haven't we? Let's just have a look who we've got after Leeds. We've got Chelsea. They're Watford.
Yeah, so it really wouldn't surprise me if we went on to beat Chelsea, lost to Watford, and then lost to Southampton. It would just be the most Leicester thing. So, but it's this lack of confidence I've got in the defence is why I never look at any games at the moment and say that's going to be an easy 3 points, because I don't think we've had one game this season where it's been an easy 3 points.
I think as well the thing, and I've said this for the past couple of seasons, it is an open playing field. This, I mean, look at Liverpool. They nearly lost to Brighton. And that's another one of my predictions that's going up the Swanee when I said they were going to struggle. But it is, and I think, Akash, do you agree that we've had it we've not had it easy, but the last couple of seasons we've kind of been in the top four right up till the end and just slip, but finishing fifth and getting Europa League is not a bad place to be in for Leicester. But this season there's more teams that are going for that position. West Ham are having another good season, Brighton are coming good, Arsenal are coming back, so it is going to be a bit harder, isn't it?
The competition has got a lot more competitive this season, because a lot of teams that you don't expect to see above us are above us, and teams like Brentford, Brighton are really, really surprising us at the moment. So, and injuries couldn't have come at a wrong time. We need to push and strive to get any European spots that's available. But if it's the Conference League, I think we could take a break. We could avoid that, because the rest will be prioritized over competing for a third tier European competition. But for making appearance after appearance in the Europa League, I think we should be doing more, and we are capable of it. But we can't be absolutely sure, because so many teams, as you said, are performing to their absolute best and bringing in results.
And 7th and Conference League next season, would that be a failure?
No, I don't think so. It'd be disappointing in the fact of where we've been, but I wouldn't say it's been a failure. But at the same time, this is why I want us to go the whole way through the League Cup, because that gets you in the back door of the Europa League as well. So silverware, and then confirmed at least European footballs. But I don't know. It's one of those. I'll always take silverware over finishing like 5th in the league or 4th in the league. Yeah.
Third and final section here, which is our Player of the Month. Now, I've got to be totally honest with you. I was torn here because I was struggling, because Yuri Tillemans had a fantastic month. He likes those long-range shots on goal, doesn't he? And we love seeing them. But I had to go for my Player of the Month, and he hasn't played that much, but Pantsandaka, literally, just on that one performance of score. I mean, he's now our joint top scorer in Europe after one game. I don't know what that says about us. I think I'd like to like the fact that it probably means that we score goals from a lot of different positions. Let's look on the bright side of it. But I mean, it was the whole performance as well. But he was just absolutely lethal that night. And then, for the second goal against Brentford, I can't imagine if that had been Vardy with Maddison up front, Vardy would have shot. I mean, he would have probably scored, in fairness, but you saw the other side of him, that he didn't take that on his own. He passed it to Maddison, who obviously put it in the net, and he's so happy. You know, he's such. We know he's not going to get regular game time whilst Vardy is fit and playing, obviously, but he's from Europe. He's got European experience. If he carries on like that in Europe, then I think our group may end up not being as bad as it was. So for me, I have gone for Patson Daka. And somebody different for you?
Yeah, I think Daka's had undoubtedly a brilliant month, but for me, I'm going for Tielemans for the absolute genius of that strike against United, and then the absolute rocket of the goal against Brentford, as well as that his performances barring on Saturday have been absolutely top notch as well. It's not just the goals; it's his overall contribution to play, and I think he's been our player of the month in my opinion.
Definitely. I mean, like I say, I was struggling between the two, but Akash for yourself.
It's got to be Patson Daka, who scores 4 in a single match in Russia.
Yes. Yeah,
I
well
was
said.
flabbergasted. Opening his account against Manchester United, he couldn't have asked for a better start. Playing in the minimized role that Rodgers has assigned him, giving more chances to Vardy at his twilight. I think he has held up his model. He is doing good. He has really gelled with the side. He looks happy, he looks content, and he looks hungry, which is a very good sign because, as you said, the specific incident of Maddison, any other player would be selfish, would be trying to take that shot, 50-50 chance maybe De Gea saves it. But, it was against Brentford, sorry.
Yes,
maybe Raya saves it. So, he channels the assist. He sees Maddison is in a better spot. He has been struggling with his own issues, hasn't got a goal since a long time. His assist came in from February, I think, last assist. So, to instill that confidence and, pick up his camaraderie, he tries so hard to give that ball to Maddison, and Maddison can't miss from there. So that's a beautiful thing that he brings into this team. I love it. I love when players share goals, share assists, and especially when forwards do it, because you don't expect them to not poach. And 4 goals, 1 against Manchester United, 5 goals, 1 assist, with so many limited chances that he got. I think it's perfect. He's not rusty. He's just gonna be blistering anytime he's introduced into the game.
I think we should maybe then look at maybe a couple of players that got honours if they didn't, actually make it to the Player of the Month. And I've got to be honest with you, I can remember walking up Wembley Way for the Community Shield, and I was a bit behind, and the team was just being announced. I was walking up, and when this guy's name was announced as being in the team, everybody around us all sort of went, oh, there's a groan, almost in tune. But Daniel Amati, he not, as I say, certainly not, been up there with maybe with Tielemans and Daka, and he's coming good, isn't he?
Yeah, Big Dan Amati, he was not like that star man, but he'll come in and do a job.
Yeah.
And the thing with him is, I don't know if you remember before he did his ankle before when he was consistently playing at right back.
Yes.
He was the more time he gets in the team, the more comfortable he becomes. So he's like that perfect utility man to have who can sort of play midfield, play at right back, and play at centre back. So he's never going to be like that incredible player, but to be able to fill in the way that he has, I think he deserves a lot of credit.
Do you agree with that, Akash?
I think if Amate is doing what he's asked of, and he's doing it in a no-nonsense fashion, I think it's more than we could have asked of a player like him, because he has been reduced to that bench role for a long time until and unless we have to deal with injuries or a certain condition like Vestergaard. We don't really bring him on, and I can, even forgive what, his misstep in the last game against Arsenal. But what he did with Manchester United is simply commendable. Ronaldo was trying to cut in from that flank, and the way Amate dealt with a player so much above his level was a thing of beauty throughout the 90 minutes. So Amartey is getting the job done. Couldn't have asked anything more than he's doing at the moment. I think with regularly being introduced to the starting lineup, it just is building his confidence, and he will be an asset in the days to come until we don't find suitable replacements as Fofana coming into the squad.
I never thought I'd actually be in the position where I'm saying, well, our best defender is probably Daniel Amati, but all credit to him for the fact that he's making us say that. It's like when we're putting our teams together in the preview shows, it's like Amati's almost like the first name down there. But Lookman as well, he, no pun intended, looks to be a good signing, and I'm trying not to get too excited because I did get quite excited about Genghis Under at the start when we first got him in, and we all know where that went. And Lookman looks the part, doesn't he?
He does, and I think it's down to him now to make Brendan Rodgers pick him, because I know we're not playing the system that suits him really, but I think he's every time he's come off the bench, he's looked lively. Scored against Brighton, in the cup. It's just now about for him trying to break that way into the first team.
And Akash, finally on this point, James Maddison have been given a bit more of a freer role in the last few games, apart from the game that we shouldn't talk about, and it seems to have improved him a bit. He seems to like that more freedom than being given a solid role.
As I said earlier, international break really helped him to work with the coaching staff and figure it all out. He was looking a lot out of depth when he came back from the injury. He was not doing great. Eventually, Rodgers had to, put him away and use him as a substitution. And that didn't sit well with Madison because the lad is hungry for more. And after they figured out the stuff, I think he had shown considerable amount of improved play. His orchestrations has been good. He is doing great, and at the time only he can go onwards and upwards. I think he would be back to his usual best in a couple of months' time, and I think any international break would help a player like James Maddison, because again, we shouldn't be mentioning the game, but against Aaron Ramsdale, the free kick was brilliant from him. He deserved one goal at least, but fortune favored otherwise.
When the opposition goalie is the man of the match, it kind of sums up the sort of day you've had. I want to just finish then with this one question from the chat that Scott's raised here. Do you think not having Mendy in the 25-man Premier League squad is affecting us potentially? Last season, when indeed he was injured, Mendy came in and did a brilliant job, and I know we've got Sumari and Chowdhury. And I guess the reasons are that maybe Chowdhury was included and not Mendy because of the number of homegrown players you've got to have in there. But given the choice, come to you first of all, Anne, would you have included Mendy in, or do you think Chowdhury is probably the better option?
I think Chowdhury is a better option, but you've also got to remember Dewsbury Hall was also chosen over him, so he's well down the pecking order, and I don't think he's a bad player, but he's not. I don't think he's better than Chowdhury. I don't think he's better than Samore. Dewsbury Hall, I've seen such little football of him in a Leicester shirt. It's hard to give him a true assessment, but those two alone, I think it's just unfortunate for Mendy that he didn't get his move in the summer, because I think he is being wasted in the under-23s, really. He's wasting his career, but I don't think he's really good enough for the level that we want to be at anymore, unfortunately.
No. Hey, Cash, do you think he'll go in January?
Very tough to say, because he has got that introduction into the Senegal squad. So he's an international who is not getting proper club time into the starting lineup. And I think last season he covered a lot of areas for us. When we were out of centre backs ended, he was pushed to the back, and Mendy didn't make much mistake. I think he is a very clean player. He doesn't commit too many mistakes, and he doesn't do offensively. He just stitch the ball. He doesn't make forward runs. He doesn't orchestrate the balls to the forward. So he's very safe, and that wasn't something Rogers was interested in looking, because Hamza Chaudhary again brings an aggressive approach to the game. Somade brings technical aspect to the game, and we have problems at the other side of the pitch. We have defensive problems, but in the central part we don't have much of the problems. We have, as Ant said, Kieran Drewsbury Hall to make up for it, Somare, Hamza Chaudhary, and we have other center midfielders, Albrighton. Uh, then you got Tillemans, Madison, Ioza Perez can play as an attacker. So the midfield is covered. So just due to the squad depth and particularly saturation in that area, I think Mendy misses out.
And I mean, Chowdhury very nearly left and will be playing in the black and white now. He probably regrets not going now with what has happened at Newcastle. But would you keep him? I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, he was captain the other night. All credit to him. He didn't have a bad game. I've not been his greatest fan because I always think he's got a red card in him, but he looks more mature, and obviously we're a year on, than he did this time last year. Do you think he's going to break? We should keep him, or do you think he'll be leaving?
It's a weird one because I think there's a potential of a very good player there, but he's not going to achieve that potential by sitting on the bench at Leicester, unfortunately. He needs to be playing regular football. So whether we loan him out, which would have been ideal what the plan was to Newcastle, and then we could have really seen him develop with a proper run of games in a team, or whether we sold him. But yeah, I think it's a catch-22 because if we let him go, then we lose that depth. But by keeping him at Leicester, we don't get the development of that player.
I'm thinking though he'll probably play in a lot Akash in a lot of the cup games. Certainly in the Caribou Cup.
I think that's the time he needs to utilize to impress the manager, because Hamza Chaudhary, again, he's just another person who can do good with a loan spell. As Ant said, definitely he's not going anywhere with a permanent transfer. But again, sitting in the bench wouldn't do him any favors, because players like Drewsbury Hall, who are more adept than Hamza Chaudhary, needed a loan spell. Harvey Barnes needed a loan spell to fully flesh out his capabilities, and Hamza Chaudhary should be doing that, because his trades doesn't complement, because he has some of the problems. As you said, he's very caution prone. He jeopardizes that department. And in cup games, well, he gets the captain's armband, so he's getting that confidence from the manager, and but that is not enough to regularly strive for greatness. And for a team like Leicester, you have to try, you have to earn more minutes, and if that is not happening either way, you need to spend a season or two here and there to really impress your boss.
Agreed. Guys, thank you so much for coming on this evening. Same time next month, as they say, and hopefully we've got just as well a better month even to talk about. Let's hope we're climbing up that table. Akash, thank you so much for joining us again. Just before you go, give a shout out to your channels.
So yeah, I write for Foxes of Leicester, and you can find me doing YouTube shows with Ant and other fellows at Beyond the 90.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, and we'll hopefully see you in a month's time. And always see you, don't we?
You're probably getting fed up with me coming on at this point. You're constantly on it.
Never get fed up at all. Never. And of course, I have to thank you, because you are sort of a famous star now, being interviewed outside the King Power at the weekend.
Oh, do you see the handbags in the video behind me?
Yes, I was trying to work out what was going on. Can I just say, next time you might not want to stand between Neil and Craig, or get yourself a little step ladder.
Did you see the comments? Someone's comment said you could get him a step ladder or 2 or 3. It might help.
I didn't see the comments. No, I didn't realise somebody already said that. But I can see why you were in the middle. You know what I mean? But
I felt that was almost picking on me, putting me in the middle, if I'm honest. But
anyway, give your channels a shout out, mate.
So as Akash very kindly said, Beyond the 90 is the big one to make sure you go and subscribe over there to that, because constant interviews, post-match stuff, pre-match, doing stuff outside the King Power. So make sure to check out Beyond the 90. Also check out my own channel if you don't get bored of hearing me chat absolute rubbish about Leicester.
We all chat rubbish all the time, but in our mind, we're talking complete sense. Thanks very much, mate. And again, if I don't see you before, which I probably will, I'll see you in a month's time, hopefully.
Look forward to it.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much. Thanks to Ant, thanks to Akash there, both for coming on the Three Amigos show. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit different. We've not done that before, but I think it's great to have. And it's great to do things with the Leicester channels, get on, and we should also support each other. So it was great to have them on, but it's nice to have other opinions as well, because you see us all the time here at Leicester Till I Die, the same faces all the time, and I know we're good looking, but you can only take so much beauty, can't you? And then that's why we had Anton. He's gonna kill me. I can see him in the green room. I'm waiting for the fingers to go up. Carl says Ant's hilarious. Yeah, you know what you got to get in for Christmas, guys. We're going to be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and we are going to be back. He says with this. The Russians are coming. Be careful you don't touch any doorknobs or sit down on any benches or anything. Did I say that out loud? Just be careful. They're here at the KP on Thursday. A decent kick-off time, 8 o'clock. And we're going to be reviewing that game tomorrow with Craig and picking the team and looking. We need to win that one as well, don't we? And of course, this is also happening. Yep, check out the BBC Leicester City football homepage. Every Tuesday, it's the Tuesday Talking Point with me. As if you don't see enough or read enough from me, I will be on the BBC website tomorrow as soon as I've written it, which I've got to go off and do now. So thanks again to Ant and Akash. That was Leicester Till I Die, the Three Amigos, and we shall see you in a month's time, and I'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for the European preview. Take care.
That's all, folks.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.